Good afternoon, everyone. We are back with the Wrestling Republic daily broadcast. It is I, Shad Talks Graps, and we got me back on a Thursday. Y'all used to see me on Thursday evenings for a while when we did the throwback. It's been a little bit of time. I think I did one a couple weeks ago, but I'm here. I'm hosting. Clark is still out of town. Ben is the busiest man alive, so he deserves a break from hosting. So I decided to take over the reins today, and I'm super excited, man. We get to talk about one of my favorite weekly television shows, AEW Dynamite. We had a lot go on last night. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was quite an eventful show, but I can't do this alone. I gotta get some help on this because who else would it be than the person that writes the review, gives you all the match scores and all that, than my good buddy David. How are you today, man?
Hello, everybody. Come over slightly. Hello, everybody. It is the SHEL Don of Wrestling Republic here to talk about AEW Dynamite, a show that, if I am honest, was a bit up and down, and a show that I said in my review, my exact words were, it's a show that had positives, but there were too many niggling black marks and too many small problems that just built and built and built through the show. But I'm excited to get into all of those, as well as some stuff that I did really like through the course of the next 40 minutes with such a wonderful host.
Yes. And fun fact, today is just a two-person show today. So I don't know when's the last time we had a two-person show on a Dynamite, but this is the first time me and you ever did a two-person show. So I'm super
Hell yeah.
stoked about it. And let's just get right into it because the first topic, I think this in totality would be the highlight of the show. If you got anything out of the show that made people excited, it was the continuation of what Jon Moxley has been doing. Um, I just want to point out, first part of the show, we get a crazy cool promo package or a little vignette that he cut. Um, a lot of, I don't know if you caught on to it, but I feel like it was a little bit of like talking about the origins of the BCC, a little bit of William Regal references in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
in there with what was it? What was it? What was the exact words that he used? It was our mentor, and it was his lord. Was it his lordship? I think it was his
yes,
lordship.
Lord,
That was
yes.
yeah. That was the most obvious reference to
I
old Willie
thought,
Reeks.
yeah, I thought that was great, and I feel like we're starting to get more of a direction of what that initial promo was to what it is where we are now. Um, that was obviously amazing. We had a what we thought was going to be a trios match get completely interrupted by the new BCC, which has Marina Shafir and Pac. But most importantly, we had a confrontation between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. And I'm going to be honest with you, David. I am so 50-50 on how I feel about this because in one realm, I am very excited about them having a match. I'm very excited about Jon Moxley and Danielson, continuing this feud and potentially getting a title match between both of them because I think it kind of circles back to the beginning of time because I think people forget when Danielson got here, they were feuding against each other. And then we had Regal aligning and creating the BCC. And all of that is fine and dandy but I just don't. It doesn't make sense on Darby Allin's behalf in regards to why you would give someone an opportunity to take something you earned and a golden ticket for what every professional wrestler on the roster should want, the world championship. It really confuses me logistically on that. It seems like Darby's naive. I know he's got a lot of heart, and I know the story is that he's the fighter. He's gonna fight for whatever it may be, and I get it. but it also makes him seem naive, maybe dumb in a sense. I ain't gonna never call nobody dumb, but that's what kind of irritates me a little bit off it. All in all, I like it. I'm curious to see if we potentially get Darby joining them at some point. Maybe that may happen. I'm really curious to see what goes on with what Moxley's creating. It's something that has my interest out of all the new storylines that are happening in AEW. And the one thing I like a lot is just the Marina Shafir, because obviously we ain't get a lot of women's time list today. We're gonna talk about one of the women's matches next,
I'll
but
get to that later. I'll
yeah,
get to Marina later.
but yeah, she's a highlight in regards to this because I think like she just looks so badass next to Moxley in this group, and she fits BCC kind of like a glove when you think about her character and all that. So all in all, I guess I'm okay with it. I'm curious to see where we go with the direction. I'm gonna open the panel for you. What are your thoughts in regards to it?
Lot to unpack in this one, obviously. Obviously, so many segments through the show. There's a lot of sort of maneuvering an issue. So here's sort of the cliff notes of my thoughts, and I'll expand a little bit more than I did in the review. First of all, fantastic opening video package. I didn't actually mention it in my review, because I forgot to put it in there, but it was a terrific promo. I'm glad they referenced William Regal because it's always been my belief that William Regal was the best thing about the BCC and the glue that sort of held it together. And I think when Regal left, we did see a dip in the quality of the cohesiveness of the stable. So I'm glad that we've referenced Regal there. I would have condensed the two segments into one. I wouldn't have had Commander and Private Party come out for segment one, and then Darby come out half an hour later. Just for the sake of pacing, merge the two. So have Commander and Private Party come out. I wish it wasn't Private Party because I feel really bad for Private Party. They should have been in the tag gauntlet, but again, we'll get to that later. They get taken out and Darby interrupts. He comes out, and then it's just Moxley and as good as Pac's promo was, you don't need it. You don't need it. Just have Darby come out and do the Darby Moxley stare off. I understand they wanted to have Darby and Moxley on their own, but I think that you didn't need to see Moxley's entrance again. You didn't need to see, these two separate segments, because to me, I don't think that it served the pace, because I didn't really then get what the point of the first segment was to set up segment two. I thought Moxley was very good in this segment, sort of coercive, this sort of hypnotic presence that Moxley is. Moxley is a phenomenal talker. That's not news. Darby, I love Darby Allin generally. I think he's possibly the most charismatic physical presence in wrestling, and I've always liked him on the mic. I didn't here. I found him a bit irritating, and I don't really know why. I mentioned in one of our chats earlier that it came across a little bit to me like, not in the content, but in the delivery, like he was 3 seconds away from going, "But Dad," and I don't know I can't even articulate why that's different from the other things he's done, but I just feel like he normally sounds cooler. I just found him a little bit whiny in his delivery. And like I said, this is coming from somebody who's a massive Darby fan, and typically a massive Darby fan on the mic as well. Some of his backstage bits are brilliant, and some of his in-ring stuff is brilliant. This didn't click for me. I think this whole story is an absolute mess. And we'll get on to the Nigel McGuinness and Danielson stuff later, but I think AEW need to get a firm grip on their world title scene at the moment, because it feels to me like they set up too many number one contenders for that world title. Not in a sense of everybody's gunning for the title, but in a sense of no one can seem to work out what's going on. And so there's no sort of cohesiveness. It's, can Danielson wrestle? Can't he wrestle? Who wants it? Darby's now putting his opportunity on the line. Is that a ticket ploy for Arthur Ashe, which apparently isn't selling very well? Is that a new change in creative direction after Moxley's debut got such good reactions? What is the reason for this? We don't know. We can speculate. There's, I'm sure, reports out there that I can't be bothered to read, but we don't really know. So the fact is, it's all just a bit messy. at the moment. Now, the good friend Clark Taylor, when I brought this up in one of our chats, said just let the story play out, and that's fair. I understand that, and I will obviously let it play out. But to me, this was very messy. I don't necessarily hate Darby giving up his spot. Not giving up a spot, but putting his spot on the line because he's insane and because he's a fighting challenger. But I just think the way it all kind of came together, it wasn't especially cohesive. I didn't really get any. I didn't, as good as Moxley was, I didn't fully get why what Moxley said would influence Darby's decision making that much, and particularly Moxley's line saying Danielson is indisposed. He can't then wrestle for the title. Given what happens later in the show, I think that is all a massive, big, jumbled mess. So I like all the individual components here. I liked Pac's promo. I liked Moxley's. I was less fond of Darby's, but I like the content of Darby's. But I think the overall stuff is good. It's just all the pieces are there for this jigsaw. It's just, for me, I'm not seeing the finished piece yet. But that's on AEW to give me. This segment I thought was mixed, but I think overall gets me to a match I am excited for Arthur Ashe, which is Moxley Darby. So in that sense, a job well done. I just wish it was done cleaner.
And I definitely agree with you on that. The thing about it is with, I guess with Darby, like to what you were saying, I definitely agree with you in regards to how he kind of responded and how he did deliver lines in a way. If you kind of would have had him more like angry, getting positioned, it just feels like he got easily influenced just off the. And then, like you said,
Yeah,
he was whining, like his tone of voice. It didn't click for me on that, and I
yeah,
get it. Let it play out is obviously the most important thing. This is chapter one
yeah,
of a story that they're telling. So I'm
yeah,
not running to conclusion saying that things
yeah,
are, the house is, where the hangman and
yeah,
page burning down. But it's something that I am interested to see how it goes. But I could also see it being a kind of a cluster mess of how we get to the storyline. And like to
yeah,
your point, because we're gonna get to the third topic, obviously, that y'all see on the board.
yeah,
Um, it doesn't make a lot of sense because he did say that he's not able to fight because they took him out or whatnot for Arthur Ashe. So that's why they're having the match. If Danielson can fight, then
it should be
why
Darby.
isn't
Why
it?
is Tony?
It
Even
should
if
be.
Darby wants it, why is Tony Khan not there going? Maybe this match we've promoted for 3 months. Let's have that match, please. Just makes Tony look like a bad booker. Like behind the scenes and in real life. No, but like in kayfabe, it makes him look like he doesn't care what
Yeah,
he's promoted to his fans. And while the actual outcomes are good matches, like as an overall package for me, it is a bit of a mess. What I will say, just on the promo delivery thing, I should also recognize like probably nobody in the world cares more about promo delivery and specifics of that than me because I love
for sure.
acting and I do a lot of acting. So I
No,
am sort of
I'm the I'm the
if
same way.
yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
same
I'm
way
glad
too.
about that. I'm glad about
I
that
feel
because I
like
felt
it
like I
is
was being
important.
picky and I feel like I was being picky and harsh. But it
Nah.
for me it didn't click at all. Whereas Pac, I believed every word Pac was saying in his promo. I didn't believe Darby. I didn't always believe Moxley, but I also think that is thing with Moxley is I don't think the words that are coming out of Moxley's mouth. I think that is intentionally vague. I don't think you're supposed
Yeah.
to know what he believes and what he doesn't because he is like the best line out of that promo was from Moxley when he said, I can't explain it all to you right now. You're just not ready. That was the
Yeah.
most intriguing part of this segment because that is intentionally vague, interesting, and is right. What does he mean by that? Is it a throwaway line or is it something more? But that was very clever.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I think this storyline is a lot more to happen. Um, let's get some comments because people have some thoughts on it, and there's
Mm.
a very common person that everyone thinks that's gonna be part of it. Shout outs to Anthony Manzano. In my honest opinion, I think the new stable pairs of violence that Matt Moxley has true mastermind behind the group, and that is Shane McMahon. He just
Here
hasn't
comes the
debuted.
money. Here comes the money. Sorry.
All right. Let me just say this real quick. I think Shane McMahon as the mastermind of a group like this doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't
No,
think
I don't think it does either.
Shane character wise, from what we've seen in the last few years, doesn't mirror that to me. He's not. He's just. Besides him being Shane, the son of Vince, being rich and successful and
Yeah.
whatnot, maybe, but it it doesn't line up to what Moxley feels like a philosopher in a way where he's got
Yeah.
a deeper meaning to what his actions are. It
Yeah.
has to be someone who has a kind of a kingpin personality that aligns with that. I don't see Shane, and I don't think Shane at this point in the juncture is able to act upon that. If Shane was to come to AEW, I think it's in a backstage, or it's in a corporate, whatever it may be. I don't
Yeah.
think he's beneficial as a on-screen talent. I think it's fascinating just off of how crazy it will be. But if I'm
Yeah.
objectively talking about him as an on-screen character, I would not have him in this role. Maybe in something more lighthearted, going against the elite or something like that. Sure, but in this role, I'm not
Yeah.
really digging it.
Hard agree. Hard agree. I don't think it. I don't think it matches. I don't think it suits. I think this is just people have heard Shane McMahon, see the news story with a lot of sort of unanswered questions, and everyone has. I think it started as a joke of, oh, this would be hilarious if this is what Shane's coming in for, and now it's
Yeah,
built into people genuinely believing it's Shane.
yeah. People are
If
starting
it
to
is
think this is
Shane,
what's gonna happen.
yeah. Look, if it is Shane, I'm willing to hear it out. I mean, the only connection to Shane I can draw in any way is Pac, Claudio, and Moxley were all people who were let down in WWE.
True.
That's the only comparison I can draw, and to kick out the only person who was treated well in Danielson
Danielson, yeah.
would. But then again, Moxley was a world champ. But again, yeah, injections into buttocks.
Yeah,
Please, oh,
yeah.
don't remind me of that. But
But
yeah, that's
honestly, I don't think they need a person leading them. I think Moxley can very well be the leader
Yeah,
and
he
keep
he
it
led
how
he
they
led
have it.
BCC. Yeah, he led BCC. He led he led the company, but like for on his back for a long time. He does not need a lead. He does not need to answer to, as the Undertaker would say, a higher power. He doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't need to. He is the higher power. He is AEW's. That should be his driving force, is
And
to be the higher power.
that's where I think the storyline is going towards, because I feel it's more of him not respecting Tony because Tony is leaning on Danielson more than he's lead
Yeah,
on someone who's been helping him, you know, get it out the mud.
yeah,
Truth be told, the first big signing they had, like outside of Jericho, obviously off the
yeah.
debut, when
It's the
Moxley
first big
came in,
signing they had. Yeah, it's the first big signing they had that you saw on telly, because
yeah,
Jericho, the Bucks, Omega, they were obviously Cody, they were obviously all pre-signed. But in terms of your big, oh wow, it's that person, it's hit them, and then the next
yeah,
ones, or maybe before that would have been Santana and Ortiz. So, but
yeah,
Moxley was the big tentpole signing. So you're absolutely right.
for sure. And then I got one more comment in here. DC Warlow saying, "Don't forget Marina Shafir. She was also treated poorly. Yeah, she was.
Oh
She
yeah,
was
oh she
she was
was, wasn't she?
definitely not given
She
a
was
big
on,
opportunity.
she was on Underground, wasn't she? Oh no! Oh no! She was on Raw Underground.
Oh
She
God, it's
was
Shane is
Shane.
coming, isn't he?
Oh no! You know who's next? Told you. Who was the bodyguard for Raw Underground?
That was it. That Dabakato coming.
It's Omos. It was Omos and
Yeah,
Dabba-Kato.
Omos. That's right. That's right.
It was
Yeah,
Omos
both
and
of them.
Dabba-Kato. Oh
They're
god.
both.
Oh no! Makes too much sense. Makes too much sense.
All
And I
right.
repeat, here comes the money.
Oh man, but nah, we could definitely talk about that topic for all show we needed to. But let's get to the next one. And this was the only women's match on the card. This was the only women's thing of significance on the entire show yesterday, to be honest with you. I don't
Yep.
They had a couple little promo packages in regards to with like
Mm,
Statlander and um the Mercedes had something yesterday. I don't
nope.
even know.
No, Mercedes
Oh,
had
what she
nothing. The only women's stuff that they had on the show was a promo package for Hater and Soraya that didn't advance
Hater and
anything.
Saraya. That's right.
and the Willow and Snap. So the Amanata May match was the only women's angle on the show that advanced anything. That was an actual new thing that wasn't just a recap of something that had already happened, which is, by the way, disgraceful.
Yeah. So I mean, we had the infamous if I beat the champ, I get a shot to go against the champ match that they are copying from the worst of worst times of Monday Night Raw that I hated then, and I'm not gonna like it now for AEW. Uh, I went in a little bit excited because I these two women I'm big fans of. I think Queen Aminata is amazing. I love the style she wrestles with. Such a stiff fighter, really lays his stuff in. Looks amazing. I think she's just the presentation, just everything about her looks great. And Mariah May is maybe my favorite women's wrestler on the AEW roster. I think she's doing a great job. And they both went against each other as the debut match for both of them. And I thought their first match several months ago now was really, really good. Yesterday, it just didn't click the same. I think also a lot of it there just wasn't a lot of investment for it. We knew Mariah May was gonna win the match. I didn't see what can be progressed for Queen Aminata. I guess it's a bit of a showing to let her be on Dynamite, but was whatever of a match. The only thing of significance really is just after she says that she wants Mina. She misses Mina. She was rolling around the ring with the title in her hand and had the mic. And I guess we might get Mina versus Mariah May. Maybe we get Mina and Mariah joining forces. Not entirely sure. I could definitely see them having a little short program while Mina is still in the States, but I don't know, man. It didn't leave a lot of fulfillment because you and I have been soldiers on the front line for women's wrestling in the comment section on Instagram. But yeah, dude, I mean, I saw Monday Night Raw. There was a lot of matches. NXT, there was a few matches going on in several women's segments. AW, like they really dropped the ball for me today or yesterday. But I mean, what are you got numbers? You got stats?
Well, the only stats I've got for this show is that it was 8 minutes. That's what I got. 8 minutes out of a 2 hour show.
Okay.
And then like 20 seconds for like maybe a minute for video packages if you combine the two. So, believe it or not, as much as I like to forget my own ego, I am not the only one that writes reviews of wrestling shows. There are many, many people who write and talk wrestling, and I like to go and read and watch what a lot of other people say because I think that it's nice to hear other people's opinions beyond just the echo chamber of your own. I consulted people in our own group chats, things like that. From the other reviews of this show that I've read, people liked this match a lot more than I did. I've not seen any "this was brilliant" reviews, but I thought this was a terrible showing for Amanata through no fault of her own. Other people have disagreed and said it was a good showing. So maybe it's just me. I don't know. Shad obviously, again, felt a bit underwhelmed. I know other people from Wrestling Republic felt underwhelmed. For me, Amanata went 20 minutes this year with Athena at the last Ring of Honor show for the women's title and looked great. Amanata has the potential to be one of the best women's wrestlers in North America. So why was she put down super easily, barely an inconvenience in 8 minutes? What's the point? Why don't you just build Amanata up over a few weeks in a competitive match, put her on a competitive match on telly, to build something for Arthur Ashe, to build something for Dynamite after that, to build it up so that I feel like Amanata's got a cat in hell's chance of winning it. I get it, it's an eliminator match. I don't hate eliminator matches by their virtue, but I thought, oh, that might be a chance for Amanata to sneak a win if Tony comes back or if somebody comes back to cost Mariah. No, just Storm Zero and the win. Which was disappointing because Amanata is so much better than that. I do like the post-match call-out. I do think the stuff with Shirakawa will be fun. But that's it. That's your women on the show. Have Mariah come out, beat Amanata quite easily, and Bob's your uncle. No, disappointing. I was very disappointed by this, and this was the lowest rated segment that I gave in the show. I have 2 3/4 stars, and maybe it was the disappointment because I love both these women and I really like their first match. Like Shard said, for me, it didn't work. If I could have put something else on this show, women's wise, I would have probably taken out the learning tree squash or taken out Jack Perry and Don and Leo Rush, and maybe put in something for Marina to show off Marina Shafir again. But again, if you don't want to rush that too early, but something, anything at all would be better than what they've done, which is sort of just one match, not massive amounts of time, not convincing, didn't really advance much. It was just a bit of nothing, really, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And it's one of those cases where like storylines, it don't we don't need it to be a blood feud, right? It could be a couple like a segment talk about them being at the same time, like a situation like that. That's how you do it. It is one of those like treatments where you do it with a lot of wrestlers on the women's roster. Nyla Rose gets in this bag a lot. Rio gets in this
Could I just
bag.
Sorry, I just want to say
Good.
quickly on that. Nyla Rose, it breaks my heart what they do with Nyla Rose because I wasn't on last week to talk about it. Was it last week or the week before? Yeah, last week. Nyla Rose is so brilliant. She's
Oh yeah.
so brilliant, and she's just since 2020 has never been treated with the respect she deserves. And
Oh,
I don't think a lot of AEW originals women have. Riho's the same, Emi Sakura, people like that. They're just such brilliant talents that just it feels like they've been passed over in favor of the shiny new toys. And I don't want people to forget how brilliant these women are. And Nyla Rose was on my list on Monday of people I would like to go to WWE or somewhere else that can show off how good she is, because being fodder to champions every 3 months is not good enough.
oh man, like her in Japan would be crazy. Like working
Oh
like
yeah.
Stardom as a
The thing is,
big
she's
like
so
heavy.
funny as well. She's so
Yeah, she is.
charismatic. She's so
And then
funny. She can do so many different things.
her in
She's just
TNA would be good too, because I think the Knockouts could
yeah,
use somebody with like just genuinely a great character. And the thing is this: the Native Beast is the Native Beast, but like Nyla Rose is like genuinely super funny online.
yeah.
Like she's hilarious. But nah, and I definitely agree with you on that. Let me get this ad read in real quick, and we're gonna finish out the rest of this show because we got our good friends at NX Connect Next Level. If you go to the link below, nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic, you will have the one-stop shop to find everything content-wise for us. That's the YouTube, that's the Instagram, that's the website, that's TikTok, everything. Super easy, super user-friendly. They also have an app that you can add where you can also access our information there and also other wrestling content creators. Shout outs to the bro Wrestling Takes. That's how we kind of connected with him. So, follow them, support them. They also have free giveaways. They sent people out to WrestleMania, giving out cash to the WWE shop and copies of 2K. So, rock with them, rock with us, and let's get back to the show because I think this. I apologize. There's not three people. This was the segment that had people most excited. Um, Backstage, Nigel McGuinness goes to Christopher Daniels and says he has to, something very urgent that he's got to talk about or whatnot. And the announcing crew is like, what's Nigel up to? Um, he comes out to the middle of the stage and he virtually says that the guy he's been hating on from the commentator section, an old rival, that he wants to fight him, that he wants to have a match with them at the show in a couple weeks, the Grand Slam in New York. And I'm not gonna lie to you, David. I fell initially for the holy cow. We are finally gonna get to see Nigel McGuinness versus Danielson after 15 years, right? The great rivalry from that Ring of Honor days. While crazy has been that while along too, but it just had me so excited. And then reality sunk in a little bit after his segment was done. I was like, wait, I thought he can't wrestle at Grand Slam. What's going on right here? We just completely told Darby, you don't get your title match because we want him to wrestle someone else, but you're also gonna have to risk your title opportunity and you very well may lose it. That added the element of frustration to me in regards to the situation with Darby yesterday, just because I think it genuinely makes him look super foolish in the situation. I might have to go on a mini rant for a second because I think it's a situation where Darby is in the same boat as people like Sami Zayn, people like Kevin Owens, where they are so good at what they do. They are such a lovable character. They're such company men. And there's some reason, some disconnect with they don't see him as the top guy. Like more so for Sami Zayn than KO, because obviously KO has had championships, but like they view him as a perennial mid card guy. We'll give you the TNT title, right? We'll give you high marquee matches versus top people, but it'll be in a losing effort. And I've been saying it for a while. There is a story to be told with Darby Allin, and maybe it will be told with him, where you can really get people to back him up and really want him to be the champion. And it can be like a Kofi Mania type of moment, like a Daniel Bryan kind of moment, where the underdog, the size guy overcomes and wins it. Like I really think he would be the perfect person to beat Danielson, but neither here or there. The main thing is that we are going to get a dream match, and this is something that fans have been talking about. I know y'all across the pond are big Nigel McGuinness fans. What are your thoughts in regards to, I guess, the build up for it, but also just being able to finally see this match? Because I'm not gonna lie, I am super excited for this match
Yeah.
to
So
potentially happen, because it may not happen, but
it's
who
gonna
knows,
happen.
man.
You don't advertise Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness unless it's happening. Like I'm sorry, you don't do it. It's false advertising. Even if they say if Bryan's not cleared, he is cleared. It's all story. I'm convinced. Here's the thing: it is bittersweet because people have waited a decade for more than a decade for Danielson McGuinness, and it comes with this asterisk of the story around it not making a lick of sense. But I won't stray too long on it because we spoke earlier, and it's the exact same reasons. You hit the nail on the head with everything you've said there, Shad. But it's frustrating. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I hadn't seen a Nigel McGuinness match until All In. Nigel McGuinness is one of those wrestlers who I've never really seen work. I wasn't watching when he was big, didn't watch him as Desmond Wolfe in TNA. So I'm going to have to go and educate myself on all these Bryan Danielson McGuinness matches. They live in my head only through their reputation. But I am excited, really excited by the prospect of it. There's part of me that almost doesn't want to watch the old matches and just see what they do at Grand Slam, but I also need to do my due diligence, I'm aware. But I think the match will be great. It's a shame that comes with the asterisk, like I said, of we get what we want, but it doesn't make sense. But I suppose I bring it back to Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37, which was a match that was critically lauded and wonderful, and the story going into it was atrocious. So, stories don't necessarily make great matches in the ring. I hope they can, make us all forget about this faux pas, but it is for me a massive storytelling faux pas. And I can't just sit here and not criticize it because I'm a reviewer. It's my job to call out when things don't make sense, and this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and then to that point, how are we going to build a story in 2 weeks? But more importantly, we don't know when Danielson got obliterated at All Out, right? He literally got choked out within the bag. They had good hospital ambulance with the oxygen tank, all of that. Like, I don't. This does. It doesn't feel like it is given the due build that it should be in my mind. I
Well,
feel like it should be a bigger deal within the build, just because we are looking at two guys who are rivals for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. I mean, this is obviously this is appealing to a very hardcore market.
Yeah,
But from a casual perspective, Nigel McGuinness has been trash talking Danielson on commentary since he joined. So
right.
I agree with you. I agree with you. There probably should be a better build for this. I also don't agree with people online who are saying there's been no story, because that's not
Oh
true.
no, there's been a story for it. I
That like there,
definitely agree with that.
I agree more on your end that there has been a story, but they could have built it up more. With that said, there is a possibility, and again, I might be speaking out.
I think he froze. I think you froze, David.
Turn here.
If
It
they,
may be the
yeah,
case
you're
that
back. You're
his way
back now.
out.
You froze for a second.
I am so sorry. I apologize.
You're
I was
good.
just saying McGuinness is on his way out. Danielson's on his way out. Maybe they just need to get this match done now and just get rid of it, because then they can say they've done it. But I wish that they could have given it a bit more. You're absolutely right on that.
Nah, for sure. We got a couple comments in here. The bro number one Superfly saying, even though I'm excited to see Brian versus Nigel, part of me wants to see their match at Wrestle Dream. Ooh, okay. That's the one in Seattle, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That's the one in Danielson's hometown. Yeah, well, or
Hometown.
home state, close enough.
I I I think him and Darby should happen at Wrestle Dream, personally.
I mean,
And
I'd love Darby to be the one that retires Danielson, but I could see it being Moxley as the one that retires Danielson. You know, who else is it going to be? Serpentico, Luther, Action Andretti. He beat Jericho, I suppose.
Luther,
But no, like it's
Luther's
who
a good one.
retires Brian Danielson is a very difficult question. I think he's
Yeah,
got to go to the
nah,
least
it
Wrestle
definitely
Dream,
is.
because otherwise, why not just have him retire at All In? But I do not want to dictate to Brian Danielson when he should hang up his boots. So whenever he wants to,
It's true.
do it. You know, he is a bigger man than I will ever be, so he can do what the hell he wants.
Nah, for sure. All right, to the main event, we had a tag team casino gauntlet. I like the casino gauntlet matches. I think they're fun. I think it's a creative way to do it. I like the one. I really like the one that they did at All In a lot. But this one being a tag team one was a little different. You had a good variation of tag teams, and I think you and me were talking about it on the chat earlier today too, where it kind of reminded you that there's like a perception that people have saying that AEW tag division is weak. That's why no one cares about it. They got a lot of teams. I mean, we got to see the Righteous, got to see MXM, we got to see what is it, the Acclaimed. You got to see the Outrunners, who got like a big massive pop, just kind of crazy. So you have depth in the division, and you have a good mix of different styles. You got Top Flight. um Ultimately, the winners, you have GYV, who I thought would have been a good opportunity to let them get a win. They have been teasing this feud or this little animosity between the Young Bucks. Maybe FTR. I don't really want to see them run it back. They're always so reliable. We got two good buddies. I don't. They're from the same faction, but they're not a tag team because Mark Davis is out. We got Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. It kind of seemed like they were going to win with the whole backstage segment with Don Callis. It felt very streamlined for it. And at that point, I was like, I'm excited. This is going to be a fun match. But ultimately, I know this is going to lead to them winning. And they did. No problems with the match. And I don't necessarily have a problem with them winning. I think GYV would have been cool, but maybe we can build that to a bigger storyline down the road. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Just because I really, really like both of these guys a lot, and they're so incredible in ring wise, part of me wants them to win the tag team titles off of the EVPs. Um, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think there's gonna be some sort of like Kyle Fletcher breaking out of the Callis family situation, or we could get Will two belts. But I mean, all in all, it was solid. I think Fletcher and Ospreay versus the Bucks is gonna be a bananas match, though. That's gonna go absolutely crazy. So the fan to me is excited for it. What are your thoughts on it?
Whereas the fact that they also announced that next week it's going to be the Young Bucks and Okada versus Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Takeshita, which is just like
Oh my god, that backstage segment between Takeshita and
Okada.
Okada was amazing
Yeah,
too.
it's like the wealth of talent AEW have is astonishing from an in-ring perspective. So this match, what to say about this? This was very good in ring, very good in ring, very clean, very few botches. All the guys got their stuff in, all very well done. The problem was, it was very hard to care about a lot of them, particularly, and you could tell it from this crowd, who I thought were a pretty inventive and fun crowd through the night, throughout considering how few tickets were sold for it. But the problem you had was you started with FTR and Fletcher and Ospreay. That was good. Then the Righteous came out to no reaction. Then the Undisputed Kingdom came out to no reaction. Acclaimed got a bit better. Maximum Male Models got decent. Then Top Flight got nothing. Then the I was baffled by how big a pop the Outrunners got. I really like them. I don't think they're shelf. I think it like if they're gonna capitalize and do something with them, I don't think it's long term. I don't think that they're. I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong, but I've not seen enough from them to suggest that they've got a ton of depth or range. But they are entertaining, and they should. To be honest, I think the same way in ring about Joe Hendry. Although I think that his charisma out of the ring makes that an experiment worth running with. And I suppose the same is the case here because they're very charismatic guys. But that's not who they ended up going with. They went with Fletcher and Ospreay. I'm fine with it being Fletcher and Ospreay because of the links to United Empire and Aussie Open. I thought it was going to be, but going into the match, I thought it's either them or it's Grizzled Young Veterans. And the second that GYV got chased off by the Bucks within 3 seconds, by FTR, sorry, it became blatantly obvious who was going to win it. And that kind of did suck me out of it a little bit because the predictability factor was a bit too strong. I enjoyed the match a lot. I gave it 4 stars on our system. Very fun match, very innovative, very entertaining. But ultimately did expose that they have a lot of talent in their tag division that they're not using to their full potential. And there's a lot more there's a lot more they can do here.
Sorry about that. My thing froze on me for a second. Yeah,
That's all right.
and then there's a team that we mentioned in the beginning of the show that obviously didn't get to be part of it. The Private Party, right? And I forgot to mention this before. Obviously, we're gonna have to wrap up in a minute or so. Um, what happened with Scorpio Sky and Private Party? Because I swear I saw a video of them at the club, and then it seems like they let them in the club, and I thought they were gonna do something together. And when I saw them come out with Commander, I was just like,
Yeah,
okay,
they're fodder now. That unfortunately they're better than that Private Party. But I mean, to your point about Private Party should have been in this. There's loads of teams that probably could have been in this.
yeah,
To make it feel more main event, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, or Kill Switch, sorry, and Nick Wayne, Claudio on Pac, could have been in there. There are a bunch of teams that you could have put in there if you wanted to. They didn't. You had the Righteous instead, and that's no disrespect to the Righteous because I think they're a talented
yeah,
team.
for
But
sure,
nobody buys it's going to be the Righteous versus the Young Bucks, and the crowd didn't either. They were good in the match, but they just got no reaction at all, and it's a shame. But it goes to show, like they've got House of Black being another big one.
yeah,
They've
that's
got
true too.
you've got the guns. Where were the guns? You know, there's loads of people that they could have
That's
brought
true
in and
too.
didn't.
Yeah,
So it
they
felt
got a deep division.
yeah, they do, but they're just not using it properly, and so it all felt a little bit in places mid card and lower card where
Mhm.
they're all good teams, they're all talented teams, but they're all teams that should be doing a lot more than they currently are, and so that's what they need. That's where we need to improve.
No, for sure. And it's one of those things where I'm definitely hoping that this is a foot in the right direction. I think I love the Grizzled Young Veterans. I think they're like one of the best tag teams in the world, and I think if they're on AW, hopefully we get to see them implemented. But that is all the time we have on our show. Thank y'all for rocking with us, man. It was a fun show. Remember, we are back the same time tomorrow, and I believe we're gonna be talking news tomorrow, so that should be fun. David, always a pleasure, my good brother. You have a good one, and in the words of Ben Allison, peace.